The layers cannot possibly be different ages. Stop and think about it. Where would they be coming from? This whole geologic column was made up, invented in 1830 by people trying desperately to prove the Bible wrong. Okay, where's all the new material coming from? Evolutionists never answer this simple question. You say the Jurassic age is 160 million years old, or whatever number they're using now. Where was it sitting waiting to be deposited on top? Moving it from one place to another does not change the age of it. I've shown many times, if I take a stack of cards and shuffle them up, is the top card now younger? Moving it to a new location does not change the age. Is this the youngest card in the deck now? No, they're all the same age.
All right, welcome to the first in what will be a series of creationist science experiments that children can do. Now, one of our favorite creationists likes to use a deck of cards. I'm not mentioning his name, but maybe you can get a hint from my lab coat that if you take a deck of cards and you shuffle them up and you put one of the cards on top, that now this card is younger than all the other cards. Well, depends on how you look at it. Now, if we take this deck of cards and we take one of the cards and we put it down, then you turn over a timer. Now we're going to wait a little bit. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes or so, and as you can see, there's sand in the timer, and this card has been sitting there as that amount of time. Now, we're going to take one of our favorite creationists' experiments, literally. We're going to place another card on top of the other card. And then we're going to set another timer. And we'll be back. Okay, it's been about another 10 minutes or so, and as you can see, this has more sand in it than this one. This one represented the first card. This one represents the card on top. Different amount of time. But we're going to keep testing it, because I got 4 timers. So we're going to take card number 3. We're going to put it on top of the other 2 cards. And we're going to get another timer. And we're going to flip. I guess I should use the other one to match, shouldn't I? We'll go every other one. There we go. And we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, now if you can check, this timer represents the first card. This timer represents the second card. And this timer represents the third card. If you can't see good, give it a zoom shot. A lot more sand in that than this, and this one has just a little bit. First card, second card, third card, and now by our favorite creationist standards, we're going to put on a fourth card, and we're going to turn over a fourth timer. Now we have 4 cards with 4 timers by our favorite creationist standards. And we're going to see if this card has been here longer than this card. And we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, it's been about another 10 minutes or so. So let's take a look. We have a lot of time has passed since we put the first card down. And not quite as much time has passed since we put the second card down. Some time has passed since we put the third card down. And only a little bit of time has passed since the fourth card was put down. So, what do we conclude? We conclude that this card was put down at an earlier time than this card. And this card was put down at an earlier time than this card. And this card was put down recently by the timers. So yes, if you put this card down, and then later put this card down, and then later put this card down, and then later put this card down, the cards were laid down at different times. Okay, now that we have showed how the cards are laid down, doesn't matter how you shuffle them up, depends when they are laid down. We're going to take the jar is going to represent the earth. We've got some dirt. In the jar. Clean up the experiment area. Okay, we have dirt in our jar. Now that layer of dirt is laid down, and we have some unfortunate dinosaurs here. And these unfortunate dinosaurs what do we have? Green timer. We'll leave Mr. Green Dinosaur here. Okay. So then you have some dinosaurs that die. And the dinosaurs get buried. Poor dinosaurs. We don't know what happened to them, but they got buried. And there was probably a few trees that got buried in there too, because Trees don't last forever either. I'll put some trees in there. And they got buried. Our trees and our dinosaurs got buried. And that happened at a certain time. And at that certain time, we're also going to put down a card to represent that layer with that dirt and those dinosaurs and those trees and plants and everything else that's in there. And we're going to turn over a timer. And we're going to mark it with a dinosaur. And we'll be back. Okay, some time has passed. And now we're going to observe what happens when another environment comes along. And we're going to make this a nice little sea that came along. And we'll put some sea critters in there. We got some sea critters in there. And the sea critters died. And they got buried too. And this was at a different time. Because our dinosaurs are buried down here with this card. But our sea critters are buried in this layer that was put down next. We're going to flip our timer over. We'll put a little seashell on there. And we'll be back. Okay. Now, since the dinosaurs died and were buried, it's been that much time. And that was here with the first card. And then along came a sea and some sand and some sea creatures. And they all died. And that's another layer at another time, represented by the second card on top of the first card, and this layer on top of this layer, and these timers showing different times. And now we've got some new environment that comes along here. And this is some nice rich soil, so it probably was at a time where there was a lot of nice critters hanging out in the jungle. So let's find some nice jungle critters here. Forest critters and Well, I guess this is desert, but hey, you know what? That's what I got. So these poor animals, they died. They got buried in some of this really nice looking dirt. And they got all buried there. At the time, that all those animals died, we're going to put down another card, because it's observational. We're going to set another timer, and we'll put Mr. Tiger on there. And we'll be back. Okay, more time has passed. A lot of time has passed since this was turned over, this layer was laid down, and this card was laid down. And about half as much time has passed since we put this layer down, and we put this layer down, or this card down. And this timer has only been a little bit of time since this layer was laid down and this card was laid down. And because I got 4 timers, we're going to do it one more time. We'll put down a 4th card, and we will turn over a 4th timer. We will just call this layer the layer of plants. We will put down the layer of plants because there was lots of forest, lots of trees. They got seeds and everything. And we can build all them layers down in there, because you know someday we're going to need some coal and whatnot. Put that there. And everything gets buried. We're going to make this our top layer. Everything all buried up in there. Alright, everything's buried. Now this layer was put down the same time as this card, and the same time we turned over this timer. And as we remember, this card was laid down with this layer and with this timer. And so goes this card, and this card, with the layers, with the different critters, built up over each other and laid down at different times, representing time is the sand timer. More time has passed since this layer was laid down than this layer, which was on top. So it does matter when you put the cards down in a point of time to represent the layers that we find built up in the geologic column. And you will never find dinosaurs above a certain layer. You will find marine layers and layers with mammals and reptiles and birds, different layers going over and over and over and over above the dinosaurs. No dinosaurs will ever be found mixed up above in any of the layers. And that's the end of creation science that a child can do. Episode 1.